Hello and welcome to our beloved parishioners. I'm Bailee.
I'm Ashley.
And this is Praise Be to Pod. Thank you so much for joining us. Ashley, what's on your heart?
What's on my heart is smoking.
Oof.
Cigarettes.
Yes.
They're making a comeback.
It is.
Have you noticed?
Yep.
Okay. I recently saw an article from Mother Tongue magazine.
Ew.
It's really funny.
Okay.
When I say article, I mean Instagram post, please.
That's an article.
Yeah. I was reading an academic article, and this quote says, "I'll stop smoking again when the world stops going to shit." I don't actually want a cigarette. I want to say, fuck it. What's the point of continuing to live vice-free in a world that's actively trying to destroy us? And then it says, I don't crave nicotine. I crave a fucking break. And right now, I go to my phone and I scroll, and then I hate myself. I'd rather just be outside with a cigarette that gives me a certain amount of time to take a break.
Yes.
And I was like, this is genius.
Yeah.
Is this why it's coming back? Or is it because younger people aren't drinking as much? Or because what's the point? Everything kills us anyway. Donald Trump's trying to kill us with our water.
Yes. Here's why I think cigarettes are making a comeback. I've actually started smoking again. So I am the resident authority here.
I mean, I love a cigarette every now and then. If I'm like 3+ drinks deep, I'm asking someone for a cigarette.
If I have a glass of water, I have to smoke cigarettes. If I breathe oxygen, I'm like, Marlboro
And I
Lights.
love the like moment when you're smoking it. I hate the moments after. It tastes so bad.
I love it all. Okay. Here's why I think cigarettes are making a comeback. And it's actually a lot like what that article said. I think that things are so hard for people. And for a really long period of time, a lot of like ideas for making the world a better place were put on individual people. So it's like, there's a climate crisis, recycle. You know, there's like,
Well, Shein is still
like there's
polluting
rape
the whole
culture,
earth. Yeah.
believe women. Like it was so individual in the expectations. And I think that after like the Epstein files have come out and we're realizing the same people that have been like telling me to like, don't do this, like, you know, like don't fuck around, have been like doing this to kids. It's just so, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I guess I'm going to smoke cigarettes. Like you just get really like, it's like a form of rebellion that, and not that it only hurts you because I know secondhand smoke, but it's more like, I am not fucking listening to these bureaucrats anymore.
Yeah.
And there's something that feels a little like Americana about smoking.
I know. It's like hot, and it's like, oh, hot jeans and like a nice Diet Coke and a cigarette. Like, yes, somebody.
I love this like state of mind it puts me into. I think that smells are also very nostalgic. So when I smoke a cigarette, I remember playing, you know, with cars in the dirt, like toy cars where my uncles were like standing around me
What
smoking.
time? Oh, I was like, what age are you smoking at?
No, like my uncles would be like smoking around me.
Got it.
And then I'd be playing in the dirt with my cousins, and we were like playing with like toy cars and Barbies and worms.
It's like a
and
simpler
things.
time.
Yeah, and it just reminded me, like I just felt so secure around them because they were like good uncles and stuff. And so I just felt like I love being in the car with someone who's smoking a cigarette. My Uncle Sean used to take me like tornado chasing, and so whenever there was a storm, he would like come by with his truck, and he'd be like, "Get in the car." And my mom would be like, "Don't smoke with her in the car." And he'd be like, "Okay." And
don't tell your mom.
I know. I'd run out of our house into his truck, and then he'd take me to the gas station, and we'd get Mountain Dew. And then he would smoke a cigarette, and we'd go chase the storm. And it was just like so sweet. Uncle Sean is not listening to this podcast, but if he is, thank you for those memories. Those were really sweet.
Cute. Yeah, there's just something about it. And you know, like it might ruin my life, but at least it will be in peace.
Yeah. I think there is like a little bit of a nihilism too. Like it is hard to envision a future right now. And so I think that a lot of nihilistic behaviors come back to the forefront when we're like, okay, like
Totally.
like we'll see if we survive the next decade.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah. Also, I wonder too, because I feel like every Italian grandma I know has smoked a pack of cigarettes a day and lives to be 110. I don't know if it's like an American cigarette in particular are the ones that have carcinogens in them. But maybe we just need to import cigarettes from abroad.
Maybe.
I act like
They're like literally
I act like I
Marlboros.
want it. I can afford to pay tariffs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like it must be. And I will say, I have had cigarettes abroad. They're not as good as an American cigarette. Like there is nothing like a Marlboro Light.
My first cigarette was a clove cigarette.
I don't even know what that is.
It's like really intense. Do you know the smell of cloves?
Yeah.
It's like that in a cigarette. So it's like very warm and smoky and like it's a different flavor and it's like a little tingly.
Yeah.
But it's like the filter is much worse for you. So they're even worse for you than regular cigarettes.
Oh, good.
But it was like my first cigarette. So I always think like, oh, a clove cigarette. Yeah. In the winter. Like, how nice.
I think mine was a Marlboro Light. I was a kid,
Yeah.
you know, Uncle Sean, to be honest with you.
Yeah, probably.
I also got to smoke a little bit.
Mine was definitely like post-college first cigarette.
Really? Okay, yeah. Well, I didn't start like regular smoking until like end of high school.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have to. So I did American Spirits at first because they were like hipster.
Yes.
And now I do Marlboro Lights because I'm white trash.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep. So full circle moment. My first cigarette was a Marlboro Lights, and now that's all I smoke.
Now, whenever I'm abroad, I bring back Marlboro Lights for all of us.
I love them. They're so
cheap and duty free.
There was a period of time I got really into like painting, and I did this collection of like Marlboro Light, like a box of Marlboro Lights in different settings, like at the beach and on a poolside. I think I got rid of all of them because I have this weird thing where I paint something and then I get rid of it because I just love to paint it and I don't want to keep it.
Yeah.
But I think that if I put more effort into it, maybe I can paint myself like a collection for my new apartment. Wait, should I announce this?
Sure.
Ashley owns a condo and I'm moving into it in September to rent. And I'm really excited about it.
It's like a very peaceful place for me.
And I know it's really special for you. And I'm excited that it gets to stay in the family.
Yeah, literally.
Maybe Jacob will live there next.
Great area. It also like has quite the story to it. So we'll see if it works out again.
Yeah. I'm excited to find out what happens. But yeah, I need a change. I've been at my Veronia house for like 7 years.
So you'll have me as a landlord.
I will. I have a feeling.
So
I have a feeling it's going to be better than my current landlord.
100%.
I love you, Charlie, but also fuck you.
Yeah. Fuck
also, my bathtub is still plugged. My God.
What else do you have to say about your heart?
Oh.
I was going to say your apartment because that's your topic, but then whatever. Fuck off.
I'm going to keep it really short. Today is May 20th that we're recording this. May 19th, yesterday, I finally took my Christmas tree down. You may have seen it on social media if you follow us. Yes, I know
if you don't follow us, what are you doing? Why are you listening? We have more followers than listeners.
We do, but maybe not everybody's online every day, and it was just a story, so they had 24 hours to see it. Anyway, I finally took my Christmas tree down. I do feel like a weight has been lifted off my chest. I also want to say thank you to my friend Layla, who told me that if I did not take my Christmas tree down, she was going to come over in 5 days and take it down for me.
Wow.
And that was also a suggestion that she was going to beat me up.
Why is it so important to her that you take down your Christmas tree?
I don't know, but I think she knew that it would make me feel better, and I think that she was being like an accountability partner.
Aww.
Speaking of accountability partners, sign up for our Patreon. All right. Ashley, what are we talking about today?
Okay. Today's topic came up when we were scrolling Instagram together. And I said, you know what we need to do an episode on? The state of men.
And what did I say?
Hell yeah.
No, I didn't. I was like, I don't want to talk about men. But then you told me why we should talk about them. And I was like, all right, fine.
And why did I say?
Well, okay. So first of all, I'll just say why I didn't want to do it. I didn't want it to become a thing where I talk about dating stories. I don't want this to be a podcast about dating. I also, one of the things I love about this podcast is that we always pass the Bechdel test. And I just didn't want to not do that anymore. I didn't want to give more oxygen to some men than I would like to. But then we talked about a specific nuanced perspective that we have about the state of men today, and you had brought it to my attention. And all of a sudden I was like, I actually think that this is really worth talking about because there's a lot that can be said about men. It's a pretty tired conversation. But what we specifically want to talk about today is a lot of the like liberal millennial exvangelical men who have like learned the language of liberation, but they have not yet relinquished like the obsession and the need to be centered in the conversations around it. Which is a more specific version of it. Like, yes, we could get on here and we could complain all day about conservative Christian men.
Yeah.
But that conversation has been had today. Today, we are going to talk about liberal exvangelical men.
Yeah, so I think there's a thread going around of like loneliness, dating, religions, pastors, quote unquote, good guy feminism, and deconstruction influencers, and rampant narcissism, which all go together. So there's a lot of Christian men that were brought up by moms who doted on them and dads who were vacant and emotionally avoidant.
If they were there at all.
So, and those moms were taught to serve men, which included their sons, which created little monsters.
Yes.
Okay.
And they also, these women oftentimes were neglected by their own husbands. So they sought this like incestual emotional intimacy from their sons, and they overburdened them with this like doting. And that was a burden for men. It's not to say that that was like easy for them, but it did create this like perfect little prince kind of, I think, idea that a lot of these
but
men
also
have.
This like insecure prince because of the insecurity from their dad.
Yes.
So it's like over loved and over obsessed from their mom, and then under loved and underappreciated from their dad.
And under guided.
Yeah. With absolutely no guidance.
Yes.
Also coupled with extreme religion.
Yeah.
So now, 20 years later, 30 years later, 40 years later, we're seeing
100 years later.
we're seeing these men have now deconstructed and have like come to the liberal side, but there's still a lot of that underpinning alive in them.
Yeah. And to clarify, we're happy to have you, but also it's time for you to shut up and listen.
Yeah, like this is very, very rampant on social media with deconstructing men who, wear a lot of jewelry and have a lot of opinions. This is like totally unrelated, but I saw this in a secular context a long time ago. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, My Favorite Murder, which is by two women. And at the time, podcasts were really driven by men. Yeah. It was like a very male dominated sector. And they had Conan O'Brien on, and he completely took over the podcast, like told them what to do and not to do, told them to quit swearing on their own podcast.
What?
Like, it made me so mad, and it made me really hate Conan. They never said that they didn't like that situation, which I've heard other podcasters say, like, I hated having that guest on. They've been gracious enough to not say that. But as a listener, I felt like he completely railroaded two women. And like, if even someone like that who knows better and already has a platform is doing it, like, how often is this happening?
Right.
And then when you add on the religion and then the deconstruction and then all that trauma and like probably a marriage and a divorce, if we're going by most deconstructed people, they got married at, especially men, they got married at Bible college.
Especially if they were in like clergy or whatever, they got married very young. Got
married at Bible college, became a pastor, and then was like, oh, I guess I don't believe in this anymore. Just saying, like, this is a common scenario where when you're not allowed to express yourself, you're not allowed to like indulge in any part of your sexuality or any part of your body or anything, like it will blow up at some point.
Yes.
And unfortunately for men, there's nowhere for them to go. Yes. Like, and all they know is being a pastor, having a platform, being the center. And like, there's something in the nuance there that really, really pisses me off.
Yeah.
And it's like, I understand this is your only way of knowing how to work or have a life. And like, we are not pointedly talking about one specific person. I've seen this over and over and over and over again with like ex-pastors that of course, but have another platform because that's their skill set. Like they're vibrant, they're charismatic. That's how they ever got a congregation. Yeah. But then the thing that is really pointed and really frustrating is when they're talking about feminist issues without a woman.
I know.
And like, I see it constantly. Yeah. It makes me crazy.
I feel that too. And this is one thing that I think, I thought about this even for myself, where like, I know that deconstruction is bigger than the story of like two white girls deconstructing. Yes. And I sometimes wonder, like, how do I talk about race? because if I don't talk about it at all, I'm going to like have like a white centered experience. If I do talk about it, am I virtue signaling? Like I go through that.
Or like if we have a person of color on, is that the only thing we talk about with them? Like that seems rude too.
But then if we don't talk about it, then is it like we're like whitewashing their story or whatever? So I don't know. With them, like it's tough because there's also a part of me that's like they have this, especially if they were in ministry, they probably have their pre-existing followers from that line of work. Yeah. So it's like this might be the first time their followers are hearing this stuff from someone that they at least at one point in time in their life respected. And so it's like I struggle with it. And also I do see it. You can tell that these men have been centered in so many conversations in their life by the authority of which they speak to stuff that they just learned about.
Right.
And there are ways that they can nod to like feminist writers, Black liberation theologians. There is a way to center other people, to quote other people, to like nod to like a lot of the stuff that we believe has already been said.
Right.
By typically like Black queer women are like at the cornerstone of a lot of these conversations, yet they are rarely ever referenced, even though they are the originators of many of these ideas and conceptions. And so I think that there is a way to do it, but you're right. They platform as if it's like the first time they thought about this because they are used to people in their life catering to them so much. Like we've all heard the funny trope about like the wife who's like, oh, I have to make something sound like it's my husband's idea for him to believe it. I don't think that men always realize how often women are doing that for them and how often they genuinely think something is their idea when it is not their idea because they do not have the like emotional security to platform somebody else. It has to be them. But like, I don't think they realize how many times people are still walking on eggshells around them.
Yeah.
Trying to make them feel good.
And I think there is a great space for their content and for their platform to like train people, teach people, educate people. But I think it should be a lot more clear. Like, listen, this content is for other white men who have never heard this before.
Yes.
Or like, I'm doing a retreat for men to specifically understand this better. And I will have women present to present or something like. It's just very narcissistic and self-centered. And it's just repeating the same thing as church. And sometimes I do get in this like meta mentality of ourselves because like I was the most annoying Christian. And am I the most annoying ex-Christian now?
Sure.
You know, like, do I have to preach about not being a Christian too?
Yeah.
And it's like, I laid low for a long time and then I tried to form my thoughts, but I'm honestly just trying to be raw and real. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do here. And I'm trying to serve a community that, like the community that I was a part of, Dirty Rotten Church Kids, they disbanded. And I was like, I want it back.
Yeah.
But like, I don't want to repeat that myself because I was used to church.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, you are consolidating it to your podcast. It's different than, so I talk, obviously the only thing we talk about on this podcast is deconstruction and all the intersections of it. In my regular life, I'm not talking about it all the time.
Right.
Well, I suppose some people are really excited, like my friends are excited about it, so they want to talk about it with me. And I'm a very political person, and I, like, live in Minneapolis, so, like, politics always comes up. But for the most part, I don't bring up this podcast unless somebody brings it up for me. And they have questions about it. So that is different. Like invading every conversation in your interpersonal life is different than having a specific space to do that. And so it's hard to know like how a lot of these men who have these deconstruction platforms are operating in their personal lives because we are getting the snapshot of them like people are getting the snapshot of us. But I think that, you know, in our own personal interpersonal experiences with a lot of men that we know like in real life, this is very rampant for sure.
Yeah. And I think there's a problem for men that they're dealing with, which like I want to give them credit in the situation they've been put in. It's like, so they deconstructed and now they're kind of stuck between they can either reject the masculinity that they've been given.
Yes.
And they've been taught and deconstruct that. But then there's no emotionally mature replacement. So instead it just becomes like preaching performance, branding, therapy, quote unquote, like being really emotionally articulate and then like just endlessly processing while they make women listen.
I know.
Which is like just a date. Honestly.
Yeah.
You've all been on this date.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
I have like, okay, this reminds me of a common experience I've had like historically in dating where like I have seen this time and time again that sometimes after being intimate with a man, they love to be like, hey, can I tell you my deepest, darkest secret that I've experienced in my life? And I already know what it is because it's copy and paste. But I feel for them. And one thing that I always thought about was like, there's a good chance that he has never told anybody this.
Yeah.
And so, and for that reason, for like human to human,
yeah,
I want to be there.
Obviously.
But then also there's a part of me that's just like, I'm a girl that he just met. Why do I have to take that on? So it's because I also know he's going to ghost me tomorrow because he's going to have a vulnerability hangover. Like I've seen this time and time again.
That's mean.
Yeah.
That's really mean.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm just like, I paid to get laid, or I didn't pay to get laid. I came here to get laid. I didn't come here to be your therapist.
Yeah.
So like
unpaid, all of it unpaid.
All of it unpaid. Let's just have like a mutually like good experience. But like it's tough because like I also love to like connect emotionally with strangers.
Yeah.
Like I will sometimes go on an airplane with somebody and have the most intimate conversation of my life with somebody sitting next to me and then never see them again. So it's like, I like that kind of stuff.
Oh, instant headphones.
Yeah. I don't mind. I've had some wonderful conversations. So like with men, it's like he may have never had this happen before. And also he's picking me because there's a part of him that like views me as a sex worker in this moment. And there's nothing wrong with being a sex worker. But I know that like men who like there's this thing that happens a lot of times with men where they have like physical intimacy with a woman, especially that they don't know. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're just like, you're going to take care of me in more ways than one right now. And it's like this weird thing because I'm just like, I know that you have been told all your life you can't open up because of patriarchy. And I don't want to be another one of those people. And also, I don't want to be the sacrificial lamb for this.
Yeah.
And it's this like,
what do you do? You can't do anything right.
You can't really do anything right in that moment. And I feel for them. And also I think that this happens a lot with like liberal men in particular, where like there's this like saying that I think is really powerful where it says conservative men view women like private property and liberal men view women like public property. And that is just like you do feel really used a lot by like liberal men because they're learning how to express their emotions for the first time, something that they've been doing for a really long time, and their friends are not the space that they're able to open up to. And so when they get around a woman, they do that. And it's like because they can't do it with their friends or other people in their life. And I empathize with that. And also that burden always falls on women to do that labor. And it's just, it's really tough because at the end of the day, if we're talking about like a date, I'm already risking so much more being on that date. And then now I'm having to do this. And he's liberal, so he's not going to pay for me. So it's just like a lot of like, I really lost out in this experience right now. And it's like, I didn't want to get too much into like that kind of stuff, but it's just more the like, it's tough because a lot of these liberal men are having these like revelations for the first time, and they're important revelations to have. But the people that they are asking to like workshop this stuff through are not the people that are required to do this labor for them. In the same way that when like white people are starting to become woke about racism, they want to go to every black person and be like, can you tell me about your experience? Can you do this? And that's not black people's job. Even if you're curious, that person is not like just the storyteller for you. You can do that research for yourself. But it's tough because like, then where do these men go? Like if they have enough money, they can go to therapy. A lot of them don't, and that's okay. I don't know where they go.
And it's like we would go to our friends.
We would go to our friends, yeah.
And like men don't have friends.
Not as often ones that they would open up to, yeah.
And if they do, it's like they go to a game together, they get a beer together.
Yeah.
Like I ask my husband, oh, why'd they break up? I don't know.
Aren't you curious?
Is he sad about it? I don't know.
Yeah.
And his opinion is like, I don't pry. Like if he wants to tell me something, I'm happy to hear it. But like, I'm never going to like ask for information that they haven't volunteered. And I was like, that's why I don't know anything about it.
Right.
Like, it's like, I feel loved when someone's asking me a lot of questions.
Right. And it's hard to like know what that like dynamic is like in between them. But yeah, it is tough. I don't entirely know how to navigate that. Like I have men in my life who I really love dearly. I'm not somebody who wants to like, I will never correct a woman for saying I hate men. I don't typically say it very often, but I also think it's okay for other people to say it. But I don't know entirely how to like navigate that because they are, a part of patriarchy is the conditioning that like women are the emotional burden carriers for a lot of your emotional problems. And then also you're taught to bury your emotional problems. So when you start doing the work of not burying them, then you ask women to take on that work. And that's another form of patriarchy. So it's just like you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah. And like they have to learn somewhere how to have emotions, how to express themselves. That's why there's like so many anger issues typically associated with men. But like how would they ever learn that?
Yeah. Well, the thing is that like there's a lot of parental responsibility that is offloaded into like the women that men date that should have been taken care of by their parents. Like you've probably seen that trope a lot where a guy meets a really great girl and they're like, oh, finally she can like knock some sense into him and she'd be so good for him and she can like help calm him down and stuff. Things that his parents were supposed to do that inevitably become the wife's job. Or like there's so much about like you have to kind of train a man to do what you want. You have to make a list for him to like know what chores he needs to do. And all these things that his parents should have been doing inevitably fall to women. So I think a lot of it is that like I personally think that women actually need to stop doing that work.
Yes.
Because like how I view it is this. So I have a metaphor. When you are at a playground and there's children and there's one child that is very spoiled and they just cannot get along with any of the other kids. They're constantly stealing toys. They don't share. They pull hair. They're clearly trying to like interact with the other kids and play with them, but they're so spoiled that they don't have any graciousness to them. So they just constantly take. And then none of the kids want to play with them on the playground. So they get lonely and angry and that makes them really sad. And I feel like if, an adult comes into that dynamic and is like, you kids need to play with him. You need to like, you're being mean to him. Like that's not really the right thing to do because like what you actually need to do is to correct the behavior of that child so that they can more properly socialize with that group of people. But the opposite is what is happening to women is that they're being told to like be more gracious towards their number one predator, where it's like, I don't know. I just don't think it's our job anymore. I think that the adults, like the parents and the system needs to be enacting more like healthy punishments and corrections for men so that labor doesn't fall onto women who are ultimately the most vulnerable to men. Like I shouldn't have to do that work for somebody who is my greatest predator.
Totally. That's good. So like obviously the male loneliness epidemic has gotten a lot more press than it ever should have. But there's research from Pew Research Center that found men and women report similar loneliness, like very similar rates, but men are much less likely to seek emotional support from family, friends, or professionals. They just kind of like look inward. And I think today to the internet.
Yeah.
And that is not a place that's very safe or great for men. And it's like, every mom's worst fear is that their son gets red pilled and then turns on them. Like my friends with teenage sons, they're like, that's my biggest fear.
That would be my nightmare.
Like I don't care if he watches something crazy, but like I just don't want to get red pill content.
Yes.
And I think that men lack emotionally intimate relationships, like we were saying before, and they were just socialized to avoid vulnerability. There's no way they can watch an avoidant dad, which like who didn't have one, especially men, watch an avoidant dad and then all of a sudden be vulnerable. Yeah. Like where would they ever do that?
Right.
How would they find that acceptable? And there's absolutely like no structure anymore. Like I see a lot of retired men, at the coffee shops and stuff. And that's like super cute. But like, is that going to be happening in 40 years?
I don't know.
To men our age? Like, I don't know if they'll be there.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that's really interesting to me too is that we definitely hear about the male loneliness epidemic, but like you said, men and women report similar amounts of loneliness. And my theory about that is kind of almost like the expectations that men and women have for other people to satisfy their needs. Whereas women, I've heard this a lot where like, you've probably heard the joke where it's like a man will get dumped in middle school and that will be his like dating trauma that like makes him want to terrorize women moving forward. And women get like brutalized every other Tuesday and they just have to like move forward. And I think that a lot of times like we are conditioned to believe that like you will date horrific men until you find the right guy. And so it's kind of about like finding a needle in the haystack. And for men, I don't think that they have that same fear of women embedded into them. And so when they get their heart broken by a woman, it's so much more jarring. Not because it's actually more painful, but because they did not have the expectation that they were going to get fucked over. Whereas that is a rite of passage for a woman. I'm surprised when I don't get fucked over.
Yes.
And like, so I think that a lot of times, like, I don't have this expectation that men are going to satisfy my needs because I fucking know they won't. And so, yes, I am lonely. I want to meet somebody. But I also like have put a lot more work into my female community because I know that those are the people I'm actually going to be able to rely on. And so like, yes, I would like to find someone, but I've found other ways to like sustain that because I'm not expecting my romantic partner to do everything for me because they might ruin my life. With men, I think that they're expecting that this woman is going to transform their lives and then they get disappointed. So I think they report more loneliness because I think that they were fed more delusions of grandiose about romantic relationships.
Yeah, and I do think like every evangelical in the 90s and 2000s was taught like your relationship will be the most important thing in your life. Everything else will be under that according to the Bible. And they will be your source of everything.
Yeah.
And you will also be connected spiritually, sexually, emotionally, physically, like every way. When like as you mature, you realize I cannot put that all in one person.
No.
Like if I wanted to find someone who satisfied every part of my life and every caveat of my interests in one person, I would never find them. Like
you never would.
Impossible.
I would never expect anybody to do that for me.
No.
Yeah. When people are like, oh,
I feel like it's what we
I
were
love
taught,
so-and-so,
you know?
but they like don't satisfy all my needs. And I'm just like, what? You're expecting one? I don't even expect a whole like community of people to satisfy all my needs because I know that like, that's my job is to do that for myself.
Well, and also like, if you want to go to Metallica, get a friend. I don't want to go.
Are you talking about your husband?
Yes, I hate Metallica.
The kind of that we needed context.
I hate Metallica.
That. At the end of the day, Ashley does not want to go see Metallica anymore, so don't ask her.
But like, he doesn't put that on me. Well, he does sometimes with concerts and specifically Metallica because it's a deal we made. But I want to go back on it. But like I learned in maturity and in growing and finding a new partner, it was like, you know, I like camping. So does Bailee. Danny hates camping. He hates nature. And sure, he would do it for me, but is that gonna be fun?
No.
Probably not.
No. You and I need to go into the woods and smoke cigarettes in Poltero.
Yeah. Like if you want to go camping, you don't want to go with someone who doesn't want to be there. It's not it's not like, oh, let's go to a luxury hotel. Oh, I don't want to go.
No, that's
very different.
You have to be able to tolerate some of the like less preferable parts of camping. And so that means you have to like the good parts enough to compensate for the fact that like you're gonna wake up with like pain in your neck and you're gonna smell like campfire smoke and stuff. Yeah.
So something interesting that I didn't see coming is that young men are returning to religion. It's coming full circle. Okay. So there was a recent Gallup poll in 2025 that found men ages 18 to 29 now report religion as very important at higher rates than young women, a reversal of historical trends.
And more recently too, because I remember when I was when I go to the church, it's just like all women. Yeah, that surprises me.
Well, I don't think they're going to your church.
Fair,
unfortunately.
Fair, because like my churches are very female dominated. Yeah, but even like when there was a period of time where I was trying other evangelical churches. I literally remember one time I just went to a couple services at an evangelical church in the Twin Cities. And the pastor was like, we need to get more men in here because we have so many single women who want to find guys and no guys are coming. And I'm like, yeah, dude, that's a problem with men. Like they don't put themselves out there even in like literally an environment that's made for them. And women do. Anyway, continue.
So I'm wondering, are churches becoming refuges for men anxious about social change, or is conservative Christianity just offering the patriarchy and hierarchy that they were taught and that they are going back to because nothing else is working? Or like, are women just leaving and men are staying? Or
I don't know.
You know, I think it could be all the above.
Yeah. I was listening to, I'm going to recommend a podcast episode. So we listened to A Bit Fruity a lot and we really like it. They just recently had a podcast episode about Tucker Carlson.
Oh, I thought you were going to say about clavicular, and it was so good.
The clavicular one is really good too, but the Tucker Carlson one could not recommend more. It was so good.
Interesting.
But it was about the like sect of conservatives that are becoming more like anti-Israel and more critical of Israel, which we haven't really seen before. And they sound almost liberal. And
it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yes, or like Tucker Carlson is another one, or like Nick Fuentes, where you're like, what the fuck is happening here? These people don't believe that women should be able to vote, but yet they believe in like a free Palestine. Like, what's going on here? And they broke down that their motivation for being against Israel is less about the genocide in Gaza and more about the fact that they believe in America as a white Christian ethno-state, meaning that like interacting with Israel is against Christian nationalism because Christian nationalism would essentially be like, we are America first.
America first, yeah.
And we have no allies. Like, we only care for our own. This is like a white Christian ethno-state. And so I think that one of the like, I think the Protestant Christianity has probably become more associated with like pro-Israel stuff. So I think a lot of like the return to Catholicism, which has actually had more criticisms of like Israel, has a lot more anti-Semitism accusations against it. That being said, Protestantism is very anti-Semitic as well. I know Martin Luther was extremely anti-Jewish. Like, that is not to say that Protestantism gets like a free pass on that. But I'm wondering almost if there's like, it's not so much a return to religion. It's like a return to like the white picket fence, nuclear family, 50s church people who like were very male led. And so I think it's almost like a thing about that. And because they're trying to like deglobalize and become more like home, family, homestead, frontier minded. I don't know if that made any sense.
Yeah, like the old cowboy.
Yeah, or just like, I'm just thinking of like, even if you notice a lot of the, like, I think it's the Department of Justice, like a lot of the weird propaganda graphics that are happening with the federal agencies. I think you reposted one recently.
It was Homeland Security.
Homeland Security, yeah. But there's other ones too where it's a lot really of bad. Like white, like almost 50s caricatures.
Yeah, it is.
That are very
insane.
Like Cold War-esque, and like the church with the steeple. Like, it's more just the aesthetic of like white Christianity, which is inherently male-led. And I think that if I had to guess, that is kind of what the sway is. It's less about like, we want to find meaning and religion and things like that, and more we want to return to like religion being a male white-led thing, which like religion has become in, you know, maybe like 5 years ago, like more women were going to church. That would be my guess.
It's really dark. And it's interesting because like I spend so many hours rummaging through estate sales and thrift stores to like fill these shelves.
Yeah.
And I mean,
look at all this propaganda. This is gorgeous.
It's like,
this is a Jesus Freaks DC talk
it's all
book.
satire.
Yes.
Like, this is funny to us.
Yes.
I got you that Jesus shirt because it's funny.
Oh, the back is really gorgeous.
And
so.
it's like real.
I know.
It's really happening.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, like, we need to wrap up, but like, I just wish that the swing to liberalism that happened in like the pandemic and George Floyd and like the elections, like when a lot of people deconstructed and a lot of men kind of woke up to the patriarchy, especially evangelical men or exvangelical men. I wish that created a pathway to emotional intelligence and, you know, like social intelligence that was actually real. Like, I feel like a lot of them learned anti-racist language and feminist language and therapy language, and maybe even went to therapy.
Yeah.
But like, there's still no accountability, and there's still number one, and they want to be praised for like the most basic parts of human decency, and they still want women to praise them, reward them, and listen to them endlessly without critique. And it's so frustrating because like they all sound emotionally intelligent until you like sit around a lot longer and then realize it's still coming back to him, like, I don't know. I feel like there's not really a way for them to win either, which is why I want to talk about the state of men. We're not just like trying to bash men. We're trying to like pull apart the situation that they were put in. And even when they're trying their best, deconstructing and becoming liberal, it's still not working.
Right.
And they're still like not doing it right.
Right.
And it's still like that testimony, leadership identity, like, I'm exceptional, I'm God's favorite. Like that's still all coming out in it. And it doesn't just like give them new software.
I agree. Yeah.
I
think like there are two, demographics of like men that are attracted to like deconstruction and liberalism in like a toxic way. And I think one of the, like something I've always said or more recently said is that the fuckboys are mutating. And it's like, I think that a lot of men are realizing that women are getting more liberal. So if they want to get into their pants, they have to learn their little therapy speak and they have to learn like about, setting boundaries and like, consent and all these things. Like I cannot even tell you the fucking shit I have heard from men who still operate under some of the most insidious forms of patriarchy in dating, but have, like you said, learned the language of liberation. It's disgusting. It's very like, it's like they're mutating to like appear different. I also think that there are men out there who are genuine and they want to do this, but I've talked about this in episodes before. This type of like deconstruction is not just a personal individual experience. It is about collective liberation. You cannot deconstruct Christianity without also deconstructing patriarchy, systemic racism, homophobia, everything. But I think that they are located in the ways that religion individually hurt them. And because men are conditioned to be individualistic and not community minded, they stop at the personal deconstruction in their own life, which is why it's so fucking annoying hearing them essentially operate under like patriarchal behaviors to talk about being anti-patriarchal because they haven't gone through the entire process. And a lot of it, I think, is because men still have more to gain from patriarchy than they have to dismantling it. Yeah. And so to me, it's just like, how much do you want to dismantle it? Like, how much do you want to give up the privileges that patriarchy gives you? And I'm not even just talking about women when I say that. I have to ask myself that question when it comes to white supremacy. Yeah. How much, like, I think about that even in terms of like, when I talk about wishing I was smaller. Like that desire to be smaller is rooted in white pedophilic beauty standards. And I have to decide for myself, do you want to be smaller or do you want to dismantle white supremacy and patriarchy and beauty standards? Because you can't do both. Yeah. Like you have to pick one. And like we all have to do that in some ways. And I think that like I am also guilty of that. I think it probably shows up in more pervasive ways in men. But I, too, am guilty of being like, oh, I really like this part of white supremacy that I get to benefit from. Oh, like, I really want like that, like all these things that we feel like we have to cherry pick or that we want to cherry pick, and you cannot cherry pick it. You have to burn the whole thing down. And I think that for some people who still benefit a lot from patriarchy, they're less motivated to burn it all down because they still have a lot to gain from it.
Yeah. And like, as you were talking, I was thinking about how I have some men in my life who have deconstructed and come out and now identify as queer or gay or bisexual. And they do not fit this mold. They are not centering themselves on all of these things. Like they're, even if they're creating content or speaking to women, like it's about women for women. It's not about them. Or it's about being queer, like it's just how does the patriarchy change when you're no longer trying to date women? Like, I don't know the answer. This is what I've been thinking for a little bit. Like, it seems to be different. And though I'm still a good friend to these men and we still trauma bond like we used to when we were evangelicals together. I'm a safe person because I'm an ally or whatever, but like they're by no means making me do the labor for them. They all have therapists.
Yeah.
And like maybe it's that you, in order to be able to come out and like identify with that, you like have to go through therapy, or you just have to go through so much. I don't know.
Because I will say, like, I do know queer men who are like that. And then I also know some who, like, still, I think, operate in exploiting, like, women's, like, invisible labor. And also there is, like, and I can't speak on authority on this. I'm just, like, regurgitating what a lot of my friends who are queer and male have said. There's also, like, a very intense, like, expectation to be physically fit. And like, there's still like a lot of patriarchy that exists in those environments for sure. And there's also a lot of like, you know, I've heard there's a lot of commentary on how like sometimes like queer men feel like they have access to women's bodies in the sense that they're like, hey girl, and they like touch them like without like their consent. Like it still exists. But you're right in that I think that when you have to go through, especially if you grew up in high control religion and you're also a queer man, you have to go through so much internal metamorphosis that is not typically something that is asked of men. Like metamorphosis and change is kind of just written into the DNA of women. We like have to go through entire changes and processes and deaths and rebirth. They don't have to. So it's almost like a way that gets embedded into their experience. And something that I think is interesting is that like in evolution, the species that end up surviving extinction are the ones that are able to adapt to new environments. And when you are a class or a species that doesn't ever have to learn how to change because your environment is soft enough and you never have to do that and everyone changes around you, you do not develop the ability to pivot and change. And then what happens? You go extinct.
Yeah.
That is just fucking science, baby. Is that the survival of the fittest are the people that are willing to change. That's not even like me trying to be like feminist in that moment. That is just evolution and science. And those men might just be dying out. Yeah. And who am I to interfere in Darwinian evolution? Yeah. So I don't know. It's just like one of those things like we're like, how do we fix this? But maybe it's actually not something to be fixed. Maybe it has to run its course. Maybe this is how it's supposed to be, is like, this is how you dismantle the top, is like the top gets so cushy and so used to like the aristocracy doesn't have to lift a finger for anything. And then all of a sudden when they like no longer have the muscle to change and the inevitable happens via climate change, war, famine, something that like completely shifts the paradigm where the like first become last and the last become first. They can't handle that change in the way that more marginalized people have always had to pivot and handle that change. And they just may not survive. Yeah. Oops.
Who knows?
I don't know. But I guess it's just, the question is, do you want to survive or not? Yeah. I'm not begging you. You want to live to see another day? Then fucking change. Get your ass into therapy. Get your ass into community.
Get your ass to work.
Yes.
No one wants to work these days.
No one wants to work these days. Stop buying avocado toasted lattes. No, but like, I'm serious. Like, if you want to have meaningful relationships with people, there are so many people waiting to have them with you. I can't even tell you how many men I know who have had so many opportunities to be in beautiful relationships with women, but they do not want to return the emotional labor that women are giving them. That is obviously not a blanket statement. There are like, I'm not saying that like it's always easy for men. I'm not saying that every woman is a saint that they date by any means. I am just saying, if you really want to struggle, try being a fucking woman dating men. Yeah. Oh, it's a fucking nightmare. And yet I am still happy and full of life. So like, I don't know. You either like need to get with the program and change, or you will die. Like, seriously.
Preach.
And I'm going to live forever. That week.
Amazing.
I mean, not because I won't because of the smoking, but like, you know. Anyway, can we end this episode?
We can. This episode wraps up by saying, what do we know? Do you have any thoughts? Let us know. Put it in the comments.
Unless you're a man, we don't want to hear from you.
Unless you're
I'm kidding. We do.
Or if you're criticizing how we look. Or our laptops.
Yeah, that was actually so funny, though.
We had a really good comment recently on YouTube of a Mac hater.
Yeah, someone was just like, you guys have garbage laptops. Tells me everything I need to know about you. I was
Garbage Apple laptops.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck does that say about me?
I loved it so much.
It was so funny. Good for them.
Best comment. Thank you. Blessed are the listeners, for they aren't falling for the performative male virtue signaling. You can find us on PraisingToPod.com on the web and PraisingToPod on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube, and Patreon. It is finished.
It is finished. Bye-bye.
Bye.